Hello everybody, so it's Ghost. Today we're going to be making Navi inspired fox ears for a friend of mine. She really likes her from The Legend of Zelda, so I'm just going to go ahead and make them for her, and we're going to go ahead and get started. If you would like to check out her page or my page, I'll put them in the description below on TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat and all that stuff down below. Hope you guys are excited for the video. Bye!
Hello everybody, let's go ahead and get started. So right here you're going to need faux fur, a pattern, some dye if you prefer. You can make these as just white too. Hot glue gun, 3 hot glue sticks, 2 scissors, EVA foam, wire, and a pen, and X-Acto blades. Right here we've drawn out what we want, so that it says BV cat ears, it's actually fox ears. I had to mark down what I wanted to dye, which direction the fur was going, and where the fold is, and which ear is for the left and for the right. I already pre-cut everything, so we don't have to worry about it. So this is for the EVA foam, and it just goes right in the center of the fur, so I just wanted to make sure I'd show that for you guys here. And I already have the the ear template pattern, whatever you want to call it. It's for both ears, so you only need to cut out one. So you can flip it over and it's the other ear, so it just works both ways, which is awesome. Alright, for the faux fur, you want the fur to go upwards, the grain of the fur to go upwards when you go to cut it and when you go to put the ears. So right here we're going to put the pattern down. We're going to trace it with our pen. Usually I use the heat disappearing markers that you can buy at a lot of craft stores, but I lost them, so I'm using a pen. You just trace it all the way around. And you do the same thing again, and you do at least 4 times. Like all the way around, 4 of them in total. And right here, this is when, if you're not an adult, ask for an adult's help. With this part, you need to go against the grain of the fur, or with the grain of the fur, I mean. You need to pull the fabric tight, but do not apply too much pressure because you don't want to cut the fur completely across. And you can take your time with this. Make sure your X-Acto blades are sharp. Like mine are not, clearly. And you just go all the way around to cut it out 4 times. I marked each ear with left and right. And we have our pin, and we're going to get our templates. I ended up editing this part because I messed up. Right here, we're just going to take this pattern for the EVA foam for the inside of the ear, and we're going to trace it. Then we're going to cut it out with scissors. So we need 2 of them. Sorry, I'm kind of sick. I feel so bad right now. After you're done cutting it out, we're going to go ahead and check if it's the right size. Yeah, it should be, but I did end up trimming it later because I realized it needed to be a little bit smaller, and you need to trim to what size you need. That's perfectly fine. Right here, this is how I made the pattern for the wire. I just traced the template for the EVA foam, and then I went from there. This is a 1mm, I believe, wire that you could get at any craft store or Walmart in the flower section, the fake flowers section. It was like $1.99. I would recommend using pliers, not scissors. And then you just bend it to the shape. I made sure I did 2 of them. They're not perfect. Like I said, you should use pliers. But we're going to go ahead and get the hot glue gun, and you're going to cover the EVA foam like crazy. And then we're going to gently set it down in the center. And this is once I realized this one was too big. I needed to trim it. Like that. Then you take the wire and you hot glue that on too. Just letting you guys know, I am sorry if you hear my kid in the background. He is 6 now. So it's like I'm posting this video way past his birthday, which was on the 1st of this month. So, he's loud. But, it's okay. Alright, since we covered it in glue, now we have to cover it in more glue, and then we gotta match up the edges of the fur with the other edges of the other part of the ear. And then we just press it down, and now we're going to do the seam. We're going to we're going to separate the seam. I'm bad at this. We're going to separate the seam, and we're going to glue it all the way down. With the wings, we will be putting glue right down the center of the wings, and we're just going to press them down, and if the glue, don't put too much glue, just like one good strip down the middle, and push it down. Whatever glue comes out the ends, it's okay. We are trimming it off, so don't worry. You gotta do the pull test to make sure it's not coming apart. A little bit came off, so we're going to glue it down too. And you're gonna do that all the way around, everywhere, on each edge. And now we're gonna brush it out with our handy dandy little cat brush I bought at the Dollar Tree. And we're gonna grab our scissors, the little scissors preferably, and trim the edges. Make sure you pull all the fur apart away from the edges so it makes it easier to trim. You're going to do this all the way around, including the wings. We're going to do it all the way around. Be careful, don't accidentally cut your wings off. I have done that before, and it really sucks. But you have another extra pair of fox ears if you need it. Just have to start over. Right now we're just going to go ahead and brush it out again, and we're going to fold the ear along that seam that I pointed out when I made the pattern. And we're just going to brush the fur around, see where we want it to set, and we're going to get the scissors and we're going to trim it. A lot of people use clippers. I preferably like to use scissors. It's just my preference. If you don't want to use scissors, that's okay. You can use clippers, they'll make it go faster, trust me. It's just currently my scissors are better than my clippers right now because my clippers kind of broke during the move, so they kind of got broken, so I'm using scissors. And I like to be able to use scissors because it makes it a little easier for me for more control of how much fur. So we're going to trim around, make it a little short, and go to the direction of the fur. Because if you go to the opposite direction of the fur, it's just going to make it look choppy and like looks like you butchered it. Unless you like that look. But right now we're opening the ear back up. We're separating where we want the tufts to sit. And then we're going to trim up the line where the center, where the seam would be when you fold the ear. We're not going to do the tuft yet, but we're going to go ahead and trim up the sides here, and then we're going to do the ears, wings, and right now we're going to do the seam. Do not cut the wings off, but cut in front of the wings, the fur, and trim it down on the edges to make it a little nicer. There we go, we're trimming down the wings a little bit. But we're going to keep these side tufts. We're not going to trim everything down. I'm just gonna go ahead and be quiet since it's pretty basic of trimming the edges, making them look nice and everything. So we're just gonna go ahead and watch while we separate the fur and shape it. And I'm gonna pop back in here. I am sorry about that. So right here, we're going to cut the fur upwards, and then we're going to fade it a little bit to give it a little more natural look when it goes and sits inside the ear. Some people just leave it long. I wanted them pretty short this time around. So we're just gonna shape it. I trim from the top down sometimes to give it a little more shape and curve. I'm basing these ears kind of off my own cat's ears. She's half Maine Coon, so she's got like these real long like hairs sometimes during the summer, so I kind of was basing these ears off of that to give it a little more shape. I'm going to be cutting towards the fur, like just have the scissors point towards it so I can thin it out, make it look a little shorter, but also look more natural instead of like blunt straight cut across, just to make it look pretty nice. Same with the other tufts, the back tufts, the front tufts. Everything's just getting nice and shaped and just blend it out. Gonna do the ears. So they did get a little like warped when they were being trimmed around. That's okay. You can take a hair dryer, warm the glue in the ears, and then flatten them out to the shape that you need, and they won't be like crinkled or any weird folds, because then that means like the glue will reset. And that's why I like hot glue so much, because like if you need to, you can heat it up, fix it. Right here, we're just shaving down the wings, and we're gonna have to take care of some of these sharp edges and just make them a little smoother so they're not as sharp. The ears are a little hard to trim around with the scissors. It would have been better if I used the clippers, but that's okay. I did figure it out. For the tuft behind the wings, I made them a little short to give the wings some more definition. Wow, my stuttering. I'm so sorry. I know it's kind of weird that I stutter a little bit. Not all the time, but a little bit. More brushing. Alright, so this is the dye. What I did was, it is, I used my fingers, don't judge me, but it is 91% alcohol with blue Sharpie, and I let it sit overnight. And then, there are a lot of tutorials out there to make the dye, but it's really good if you want a light blue. And sometimes I use like actual hair dye on faux fur, but you gotta do like a lot of test strands and stuff. But I prefer this because it dyes it really well, and it's kind of hard to wash out of the white faux fur. So yeah, I'm using my fingers because I couldn't find my hair dye brushes, and I could not find any of my gloves. So I had blue fingers for like 2 weeks, but that's okay. But I'm going to be dyeing the back entirely in blue. And you just massage it in, because when I use my fingers, I massage it in real nice, and it makes it like a light blue color. And then when I go to do the edges, it comes out like a dark blue, and it makes this really cool shadowing. and it's really awesome. For the back, I'm just going to keep massaging the blue in all directions, and then with the wings, they stay white. We want the wings to stay white, so we got to make that sharp edge across the back. And in the front, I did end up leaving a couple of the tufts white, which is perfect because it came out with a nice cool shadow, and I loved how it came out. So you just keep adding dye. I keep dropping drips onto the table. Good thing that is a waterproof table. So I'll be using this table a lot in some tutorials, and it will look filthy. I am sorry, but I do change out the cover once a month, or when it gets really bad. It's just paper and tape. Yeah, here comes the edges. We just put a lot of dye there. A lot of dye, because then it will soak up and it will make this really cool shadow effect. And that's where I separate the tufts. And I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to tap in the dye in the white, because we want to make sure it dries beautifully. And it also dries in less than 5 minutes. And now it's dry. And we just brush it out, make it look good. Alright, I do not have the wire hair bands, the metal ones, so I ended up making this plastic one. I dyed it and everything. It is a temporary thing, it's not permanent. I would recommend using the metal ones, but where I was ordering them from, they were out of stock. So when I get the chance, I will be replacing them once they get back in stock, and I'll be giving her new hairbands. This was a present for a friend, and I said, it was a surprise, and she didn't know. So she really loves the Zelda series, and I love that she does. And her Christmas present is going to be awesome too. I can't wait to give it to her. She's going to love it. I'll post pictures of that on Instagram. But I was going to do a tutorial of it, but I didn't. But yeah, you just wrap the wiring around the hairband. And here, you just decorate it to what you want. I bought all of these things from Walmart. I know that sucks. We don't have a craft store near me, so Walmart's the closest place. And that's where I get a lot of these little clips and these, I don't know, O-rings? Yeah, O-rings and stuff. I was trying to make it look like there were gauges and all kinds of stuff on here. I took the triangle-shaped studs, and I made the Triforce out of them. I had to fix it a couple times because they were a little crooked, and I ended up fixing it. They stick in there really easy, and they don't come out. You don't have to add glue or anything, which is really cool because they get stuck in the EVA foam that's in the ear. It's awesome. I do brush, reshape, move things around, and all these little boxes I got from the Dollar Tree. And I like storing my stuff in little containers and compartments. So it works out. I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking so you guys can watch the process of me decorating these ears. Also, I want to throw in there, you don't have to decorate your ears at all like mine that I made for my friend. You can do whatever your heart desires. Like how I just changed out one of the O-rings that I used and ended up putting in a round stud to make it look like an actual gauge. It's not an actual gauge, it's I can't remember right now because my head hurts. I have a migraine. But I end up putting a bunch of those on there. These little O-rings, I ended up buying those from Walmart, but they're the ones you would get for jewelry, and it's when you connect chains and stuff. I got a bunch of those. I bought the close to like a ½ inch size, if I remember right. I don't have the packaging for it, so I don't remember. But they're pretty cheap. They're like $1.25 for a large package, and I ended up putting a bunch of them on there. I don't remember if I put chains on these or not. I don't think I put chains on this one. Now we're just brushing everything out, making sure it looks good, and then it's done.
Who are you? An angel. What's your name? Sing.